Welcome back, America. I'm pretty sure Mary Catherine Ham of Getting Hammered fame. Your morning show for any time in the day, and to which you ought to subscribe on YouTube, like and opine over at Getting Hammered. Mary Catherine, I don't know that they play football at your alma mater, but Ohio State is playing this weekend. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you going to be rooting for the Buckeyes as opposed to that team up north?
I don't care for Michigan. But I will be preoccupied at the Georgia Tech game this weekend, so I will be at that event.
Does that really count as a rivalry, Mary Catherine? It's Georgia
You know
Tech.
what? It's been a while, but they've pulled off a couple decent wins this year, and we should not look past this game because that's the death knell for many a successful team is to look past something that they thought was going to go fine and then it didn't. So we will be
Are they playing
paying
in
attention
Athens or in Atlanta?
in Athens.
Okay, so are you going to see Sanders?
I am. I'm excited
Well,
about it. We're
tell
going to do some
Sanders,
tailgating.
I want you to ask Sanders to break out his fluent French. All right, we were lost in Provence once with Sanders, and the waitress was giving us the French stink eye and pretending not to help us. So Sanders, out of nowhere, breaks out the fluent French and orders for the fetching Mrs. Hewitt and his wife, and I am just amazed. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but Sanders is a man of many surprises and he's a cultured guy. And I bet his French accent is just magnificent combined with his Georgia accent.
Well, if he could simply say "Go Buckeyes, beat that team up north," I would like it. All right, let's do some victory dancing here. Jay Bhattacharya. I have already played a couple of clips from my interview with him last year. I want you to hold forth on why this makes you happy.
Oh, this is my favorite pick of the transition yet because it is so poetic that Francis Collins, the former head of the NIH, talked a bunch of junk about Dr. J, tried to sort of smear him as a member of the Barrington group, as a fringe epidemiologist at one point, because the entire government's idea was to just shove all this down everyone's throats, not have a conversation about it, not engage with anyone who had different ideas about whether you should shut down an entire greatest economy in the history of man. And Dr. J. Bhattacharya had different ideas about that. And as a result, he had to be treated badly. And so after he's treated badly, he's unfailingly kind, mild mannered, smart, gives other people a chance to weigh in. And he's like, has to suffer slings and arrows at Stanford. And then what happens? But this guy who was right about COVID when so many other people were wrong, who stood up when it was tough to do, gets the very job that Francis Collins had and used to go after him. And I am so excited. It's just, I love to see good stuff rewarded, and this guy is a good guy who is smart. And by the way, one of the reasons he saw through all of this, not only is he an epidemiologist, he's an economist. So it occurred to
Yeah,
him there might be other harms happening here.
yeah. Downstream effects and negative externalities which were not being captured. I got to tell you, I was very GOPE during this whole thing. Get the vaccine, social distancing, wear your mask. Francis Collins was on 4 times, Anthony Fauci 3 or 4 times. They lied to me, Mary Catherine. They
Yeah.
just lied to me. And so I've always, when somebody lies to me straight up, I'm done with them. Jay Bhattacharya, good on that. Now, let me ask you about the problem. There are a couple of problems, Mary Catherine. I listened to Getting Hammered. Number one,
Okay.
you have Christmas bedding on the kids' beds already. This is a
Hmm.
violation of every Christmas rule. Do you want to
Yeah.
plead guilty and ask for leniency of the court, or are you going to deny that it's in fact true?
I mean, that's all I can do because as you can see, I think over my shoulder, there's a Christmas tree. So I'm busted.
Oh gosh. Oh, you broke another rule. Oh,
So
third,
let me,
si- don't go to
here's
3 strikes, you'll be out.
here's how I'll argue for mercy. It is this. I have 4 kids. We're out of town until basically December 1st because Thanksgiving is so late. And I got to start early and gradually if I'm going to get everything done before, I don't know, like December 20th. So here we are, gradually working so that mom doesn't go crazy, so that everybody still ends up with a Christmas.
All right. You can get some mercy from the court if you lend me Steve. I had to lift a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old asleep out of car seats last night. You've been to my house. It's up and down, 4 flights. And you
Yeah.
know that the weight of a 5-year-old increases by about 150% if they're dead asleep. You are aware of that
Yes,
physics, right? That's a
I
law of
am
physics.
very aware of that, and Steve is available. He is in fact just like definitely built for lifting things. That's his
Built
deal.
for lifting. Don't go anywhere because during the break I have my third indictment of Mary Catherine, and it's a bad one, American. You have to listen. All right, Mary Catherine Ham, I have one more indictment that has been returned,
Okay.
and not by Juan Merchand. This is actually an admission against interest that you made that may not be protected because it was on a podcast. I think that's public
Okay.
domain. You watched 11 seasons of Dallas?
Yes, I did. See, this is the difference. I had 0 children then, so I could really indulge in some silliness. And so, yes, 11 seasons of Dallas with my best friend when we were roommates. It was a fantastic journey. Dallas was a fantastic show, and I am truly not ashamed of it. I enjoyed it very much.
Oh, Mary Catherine, I'm a young parent when Dallas is on the air, and young parents will watch anything if the kids are asleep. And I couldn't watch Dallas. Is there any counterpart to Dallas in the modern media culture? Not
You know what
Games
they
of Thrones.
No, I mean there's prestige TV, so you don't have to have Dallas anymore. But I mean, I think Bravo is basically Dallas. Like the Real Housewives is Dallas, except it's not exactly scripted. But they also tried to reboot Dallas because the things from the 80s and 90s are what people want, but they just keep trying to reboot, and it doesn't actually work as well as the original.
All right, so my last question, Mary Catherine, in terms of watching television with 4 children, do you ever finish any series? Because my daughter doesn't, because their interruptions are continual, and you've got soccer games and you've got PTA meetings. By the way, now let me divert. How are you as a PTA mom when you go in for the parent teacher conference? Are you, oh, that's great, good, and get out of there, or are you diving into the specifics?
Oh, if I'm there, I am out as soon as possible. The thing is about me with the 4 children and the job and everything, you can't pile on too many more responsibilities or those balls will get dropped. And so I am wary of how much I am offering to do. For instance, there was a preschool Thanksgiving feast, which is just another thing on my list of to do this week. But you know what I did? I signed up for fruit because you know why? We always got fruit in the house. So I knew that when it came down to it and I was last minute freaking out, I could just cut the fruit and take it to the preschool. So that's my
No,
level
I
of
got
involvement.
one last question. My daughter got a call from the preschool where T Rex Teddy goes. He's 2 years old. He
Yeah.
has a 9-year-old brother. So they wrestle. So the problem is the 2-year-old is tackling everyone at the preschool.
Yeah.
And my daughter, has that occurred yet in the Ham Steve household?
It hasn't, but with our older kids being young ladies, it's probably just going to be like inappropriate Taylor Swift lyrics.
Oh, okay. It's a terrible thing to have too many years between the oldest and the youngest because the youngest pick up what the oldest has done. Mary
For
Catherine, you
sure.
have a wonderful Thanksgiving. My best to Steve and the kids, and I look forward to talking to you when I'm back from filling in for Dennis, floating around the Caribbean. My Thanksgiving is flying to Fort Lauderdale to go to the Dennis cruise, but that is not a
All right.
hardship, and I am happy to do it. So, Mary Catherine, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and go
Have
getting
fun.
hammered.
Thank